Good afternoon. My name is Blair Snyder, and I'm the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Today, I'm here with Sydney Sutcliffe, the Minister of New Zealand Security and Intelligence Services, to discuss the recent tragedy that occurred in our nation. At approximately 1:40 p.m. on Thursday, March 15, 2019, an act of terror occurred in Christchurch, New Zealand at two mosques in our Linwood Islamic Center. These acts were committed by someone with extremist views that in no way represent the views of New Zealand and have no place in the world today. As our national security threat has gone from low to high, the appropriate agencies have responded accordingly to the tragedy and apprehended the shooter. Our primary concerns are for the safety of our citizens, those affected by this tragedy, and to make a change in gun reform in order to prevent another heartbreaking crisis. Our nation is a proud one that is full of diversity, kindness, and compassion. This act of terror will not break those values as we continue to work on reforming our gun laws in order to prevent a tragedy like this from ever occurring again. Thank you, and I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Hello, I'm Samantha Gudis from the New York Times. I'm just wondering, do you think the President of the United States of America has or should have a level of moral culpability when it comes to the shooting?
So, I believe that this act of terror was not caused by any one person or factor, but that the President of the United States rhetoric can have a direct link to this crisis, as we've seen in his manifesto that he references the President of the United States many times. So yes, I do believe that he needs to be held accountable for his language. It can be hard sometimes to understand the direct results of things that you say, but we can't allow our leaders' words to be twisted in such ways that can result in a crisis as extreme as this. So yes, he needs to be aware of what he's saying, and he needs to more so work on how he presents his ideas so that they can't be manipulated in a tragic way like this.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark confernece, New York Times. Just a follow-up question really quick. You talk about how President Trump is having a rhetoric about Islamophobia. Why do you think this sort of rhetoric found its way to New Zealand when it's mainly a United States problem?
So as we all know, this was a social media orchestrated attack, and I think that even though this is a citizen of New Zealand, not the United States, through social media, especially the site that he used, 8chan, there is a lack of monitoring what people are saying on this site, and it allows radical ideas to spread like wildfire. So getting into another point that we're working on here is that monitoring social media is a really important thing that needs to be a lot more prevalent in our world today so that issues like this, radical views spreading through social media, is less of an issue.
Hi, I'm McKenna Woolman from the Washington Post. I was just wondering, prior to this shooting, were there other instances of gun violence in New Zealand which could have indicated that a mass shooting of this nature could occur?
So there has not been a mass shooting or really any shootings in New Zealand for many years. Despite this, we have been working on gun reform since 1983. It's been a long process. We've had recent legislation put in place in 2012. And obviously, we still need to keep working on it. So yes, we are aware that this is a problem, and we're continuing to work on it.
Hello, Nick Knaus here from CNN. So let's be one-on-one here. I have to know, why have you not named the shooter?
So, as I'm sure most of you are aware, in many different articles published about copycat situations, and in general, just the results of mass shootings like this, it's important for us not to speak the name of the shooter because it gives them power, and it encourages other people who wish to seek infamy to copy in the footsteps of someone else. So in order to try to de-escalate the situation and prevent further copycat situations, we choose not to speak the name of the shooter, so it doesn't focus on him, but rather focuses on the victims and helping them recover.
Daniel Holtham of the Boston Globe. To follow up the question from the CNN report, would you classify the shooter as an extremist?
I would definitely classify him as an extremist, yes. His views have no root in what we preach in New Zealand, the diversity and kindness that we believe is necessary in our society. And yes, these are definitely extremist views. They have no place in our world today.
Another question. This morning, NBC released a statement saying that the recent Easter Sri Lanka massacre was a form of retaliation to the New Zealand shooting at Christchurch because, you know, it was sort of between the two religions. Why do you think that is?
So as of right now, I'm unaware of that article that's been published. But again, I would have to link it to the extremist ideas that are being passed around on social media. I'm not really sure where this person got their ideas from, but I do believe that these extremist views are out there. And like we were discussing just before, copycat situations are something that does happen quite frequently. So I can see the connection between these two, but I'm unaware of that article, so I'll get back to you when we have any further details on that.
Does New Zealand take responsibility for the lack of gun control that ultimately caused this massacre?
I'm going to hand this over to the Minister of Security and Intelligence.
If you wouldn't mind just repeating it one more time,
Yes,
please.
of course. Again, I'm Samantha Gudis from the New York Times. And does New Zealand take responsibility for the lack of gun control that ultimately caused this massacre?
So our former gun laws obviously stated that it was not regulated to have weapons registered during the time of purchase. So as we are progressing in our gun reform laws, all military-style semi-automatic weapons are now immediately banned from being sold and will be completely banned under a law expected to be enacted within weeks. So we're hoping that this law will help minimize crises like these.
Sort of a follow-up to that question. Currently, there are over 1 million individuals in New Zealand that do own guns, correct? How do you plan to go about regulating gun reform with those who already own guns?
So as of right now, we are aware that this is a very large issue in our country. We are currently in the process of discussing how this situation will be handled. So as of right now, I don't have a concrete answer for you because I don't want to give out any information that may end up falling through. So I will make sure to, once we have a concrete solution to this problem, to announce it to the public. But as of right now, I don't want to say anything that might not end up being fact.
Hi, I'm Misha Brown from the Washington Post. What security measures are you doing to prevent tragedies like this?
Again, I'll hand this over to my Minister of Security.
Hi. As I stated before, all military-style semi-automatic weapons are being banned in our country. And as well as this, we are enacting, the Civil Aviation Authority has introduced baggage screening on regional flights with 30 or more passenger seats from Christchurch on March 16th. There is new technology coming out to enhance the airport security, such as 3D bag checks. So that's just one way or two ways that we have been enhancing security around Christchurch. And we would like to conclude the conference. Thank you very much.